Have you ever stopped to think that some of the strangest worlds in our solar system aren't planets at all? They're moons. For centuries, humanity looked up at the night sky believing moons were nothing more than lifeless rocks, quietly orbiting their planets for billions of years. They seemed simple, cold, silent, completely unremarkable. But the more we explored the solar system, the more we realized we had been completely wrong. Some moons are covered by oceans hidden beneath kilometers of ice. Others are filled with active volcanoes that erupt so violently they can be seen from space. One has lakes, rivers, and rain, not made of water, but of liquid methane. Another may contain more water than all of Earth's oceans combined. And somewhere among these distant worlds, scientists believe there could even be the conditions necessary for alien life. These aren't scenes from a science fiction movie. They're real places, scattered across our own cosmic neighborhood. Today, we're taking a journey to the strangest moons in the solar system, worlds that continue to surprise scientists every single time we visit them. And by the end of this documentary, you may never look at our solar system the same way again. Our journey begins with one of the most violent places ever discovered. A moon that should have become cold and lifeless billions of years ago. Instead, it's the most volcanically active object in the entire solar system. Its name is Io. Orbiting the giant planet Jupiter, Io looks almost unreal. From a distance, its surface is painted in brilliant shades of yellow, orange, black, and red, giving it the appearance of a giant pizza floating through space. But beneath those colorful patterns lies absolute chaos. Unlike Earth's volcanoes, which are powered mainly by heat from our planet's interior, Io is constantly squeezed by Jupiter's immense gravity. Every time it completes an orbit, the enormous gravitational forces stretch and compress the moon like a rubber ball. That constant flexing generates an incredible amount of heat inside the moon, enough to melt rock. Enough to fuel hundreds of active volcanoes. Some eruptions launch material more than 300 kilometers into space. Imagine standing on its surface. The ground beneath your feet would constantly tremble. Massive lava lakes would glow brighter than city lights. Entire mountains would erupt without warning, and sulfur would rain back onto the landscape, painting the moon in vivid colors unlike anywhere else in the solar system. Io isn't simply volcanic. It's alive with geological activity. In fact, scientists believe its surface is completely renewed every few million years, erasing almost every impact crater that would normally accumulate over billions of years. It's one of the youngest-looking surfaces in the solar system, created not by age, but by endless destruction. Yet, as extraordinary as Io is, its neighboring moon may be even more fascinating. Because beneath the frozen shell of Europa, there may be an ocean unlike anything on Earth. At first glance, Europa appears calm, a perfectly smooth sphere of brilliant white ice crossed by long reddish cracks stretching across its surface. There are very few mountains, very few craters, almost nothing that suggests anything remarkable. But appearances can be deceiving. Scientists now believe that beneath Europa's icy crust lies a vast global ocean containing more liquid water than all of Earth's oceans combined. Think about that for a moment. A single moon, holding more water than our entire planet. And unlike frozen ice, this hidden ocean may be warm enough to remain liquid thanks to the gravitational pull of Jupiter, which continuously heats Europa's interior. That raises one extraordinary possibility. If there's liquid water, if there are energy sources, and if the necessary chemical ingredients are present, could life exist there? On Earth, life has been found thriving around deep-sea hydrothermal vents where sunlight never reaches. Entire ecosystems survive using heat and chemical energy rising from the ocean floor. If similar environments exist beneath Europa's ice, then perhaps simple organisms, or even more complex forms of life, could be swimming through its dark oceans right now. It's one of the biggest reasons why Europa has become one of NASA's highest priority destinations. Future missions will search for signs that this hidden ocean may be habitable, because if life exists there, it would completely transform our understanding of biology and prove that Earth is not the only place where life can emerge. But Europa isn't the only frozen moon hiding incredible secrets. Far beyond Jupiter, orbiting the ringed giant Saturn, lies another world that may be even more astonishing, a tiny moon called Enceladus. At first glance, Enceladus seems far too small to be interesting. It's only about 500 kilometers across, smaller than many countries on Earth. Yet this little moon shocked scientists in one of the greatest discoveries in planetary exploration. In 2005, NASA's Cassini spacecraft flew close to Enceladus and observed something nobody expected: gigantic geysers. Towering columns of water vapor, ice particles, and organic compounds blasting hundreds of kilometers into space through enormous cracks near its south pole. Those icy plumes were so powerful that they escaped the moon's gravity entirely, helping create one of Saturn's outer rings. Even more incredible, when Cassini flew directly through these geysers, it detected water, carbon-containing molecules, salts, and hydrogen. Exactly the kinds of ingredients scientists associate with potentially habitable environments. Deep beneath Enceladus' frozen surface, there may be another enormous ocean. A warm ocean. One that may contain hydrothermal vents remarkably similar to those supporting life deep within Earth's oceans. If there is anywhere in the solar system where alien microbes could exist, many scientists believe Enceladus is one of the best places to look. Just imagine that for a moment. On a tiny frozen moon nearly 1.5 billion kilometers from the sun, life could already exist, hidden beneath kilometers of ice, completely unaware that another civilization is searching for it. And incredibly, our journey through the strangest moons of the solar system has only just begun. But if you think we've already seen the strangest moons in the solar system, the next worlds will make everything we've explored so far seem almost ordinary. Our journey now takes us nearly 1.5 billion kilometers from Earth, to Saturn's largest moon, a place so extraordinary that in many ways it resembles a second Earth. Its name is Titan. Titan is unlike any other moon ever discovered. It is the only moon in the entire solar system with a thick atmosphere. In fact, its atmosphere is even denser than Earth's. If you were standing on its surface, the orange haze above you would completely hide the sun. Daylight would look like a permanent sunset, with a dim golden glow stretching across the landscape. At first, scientists assumed Titan would be nothing more than another frozen wasteland. They couldn't have been more wrong. When NASA's Cassini spacecraft arrived at Saturn, it revealed a world filled with rivers, lakes, clouds, rain, and even seasonal weather. But there was one incredible difference. None of it was made of water. On Titan, the temperatures are so cold, around minus 179 degrees Celsius, that water is as hard as granite. Instead, the rivers and lakes are filled with liquid methane and ethane. Imagine standing beside a shoreline where the waves aren't made of water, but liquid natural gas. Imagine dark clouds drifting overhead before releasing methane rain onto an icy landscape. This is the only place beyond Earth where scientists have directly observed stable liquids flowing across the surface. Titan has mountains, sand dunes stretching for hundreds of kilometers, river valleys carved by flowing liquids, and enormous seas larger than many countries on Earth. Some scientists believe that billions of years ago, before life appeared on Earth, our own planet may have looked surprisingly similar to Titan. Studying this mysterious moon could help us understand how life first began on Earth itself, and perhaps how it might begin elsewhere. But Saturn wasn't finished surprising us. Orbiting far beyond Titan is another moon that has puzzled astronomers for centuries. A tiny world no larger than a small country, yet unlike anything else in the solar system. Its name is Iapetus. At first glance, Iapetus appears almost impossible. One hemisphere is as dark as coal. The other is almost perfectly white. It's as though someone painted half the moon black and left the other half untouched. Scientists spent decades trying to explain this bizarre appearance. Eventually, they discovered that dark material from neighboring moons had slowly settled onto one side of Iapetus over millions of years. As the darker surface absorbed more sunlight, it became slightly warmer, causing ice to evaporate away. That exposed even darker material beneath, creating a chain reaction that made one side dramatically darker than the other. But that isn't the strangest feature. Running almost perfectly around the moon's equator is a gigantic mountain ridge. It's over 1,300 kilometers long. In some places, more than 20 kilometers high. That's more than twice the height of Mount Everest. No other moon has anything remotely similar. Scientists still debate exactly how this enormous ridge formed. Some believe Iapetus once had its own ring system that eventually collapsed onto its surface. Others think the moon was spinning much faster billions of years ago. Even today, nobody knows for certain. And then there's Triton, the largest moon of Neptune, a world that completely defies expectations. Unlike nearly every large moon in the solar system, Triton doesn't orbit in the same direction as its planet. Instead, it travels backwards. This unusual orbit suggests Triton didn't form around Neptune at all. Scientists believe it was once an independent dwarf planet wandering through the outer solar system before Neptune's gravity captured it billions of years ago. If that's true, Triton is essentially a captured world, a cosmic prisoner. But its strange orbit isn't its only mystery. When NASA's Voyager 2 spacecraft flew past Triton in 1989, it discovered something astonishing. Active geysers. Not of water, not of lava, but jets of nitrogen gas erupting several kilometers into the sky. At temperatures close to minus 235 degrees Celsius, Triton somehow remains geologically active. No one expected that. Even today, scientists are still trying to understand where the energy comes from. Some believe a hidden ocean may exist deep beneath its frozen crust. If that's true, Triton joins a growing list of icy moons that may hide liquid oceans beneath their frozen surfaces. And with every new discovery, the same question continues to grow louder. If these distant moons contain water, energy, organic molecules, and stable environments, could they also contain life? It is a question that has transformed planetary science. Not long ago, scientists believed the best place to search for extraterrestrial life was Mars. Today, many believe the answer could be hiding beneath the frozen crust of one of these extraordinary moons. And incredibly, we've still only explored a tiny fraction of them. Dozens of mysterious moons remain largely unexplored. Some have never been visited by a spacecraft. Others have only been photographed from millions of kilometers away. Each one could be hiding discoveries that completely change our understanding of the solar system. And perhaps, the strangest moon of all is still waiting for humanity to find it. But perhaps the greatest surprise is that we've only explored a tiny fraction of these incredible worlds. In fact, most of the moons in our solar system have never been visited up close. Many have only appeared as tiny dots in telescope images. Others were photographed once by passing spacecraft decades ago and have remained mysteries ever since. Every one of them could be hiding something extraordinary. Take Miranda, for example, one of the smallest major moons of Uranus. At first glance, it looks completely broken. Its surface is unlike anything else we've ever seen. Enormous cliffs rise nearly 20 kilometers above the surrounding terrain, among the tallest known cliffs anywhere in the solar system. Deep canyons slice across its surface. Gigantic terraces stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Some regions appear incredibly ancient, while others seem surprisingly young. When Voyager 2 flew past Miranda in 1986, scientists were stunned. It looked almost as if the moon had been shattered into countless pieces, then somehow pulled back together by gravity. Today, some researchers believe powerful tidal forces may have partially melted its interior long ago, reshaping the moon from the inside. Others think massive impacts completely transformed its surface. Even after decades of study, Miranda refuses to give up its secrets. Then there's Mimas, one of Saturn's smallest moons. If it looks familiar, there's a good reason. A gigantic impact crater dominates nearly one-third of its surface, giving it an incredible resemblance to the famous Death Star from Star Wars. The crater, known as Herschel, is almost 140 kilometers wide. The impact that created it was so powerful that it nearly destroyed the entire moon. Shockwaves traveled through its interior, leaving enormous fractures on the opposite side. Scientists have often wondered how Mimas survived at all. For years, they believed it was nothing more than a frozen ball of ice. But recent observations have hinted at something unexpected. Some evidence suggests that beneath its icy crust, there may be a hidden ocean. If confirmed, Mimas would become yet another moon once thought completely dead, only to reveal signs of activity beneath the surface. It seems that the deeper we look, the stranger these moons become. Our journey now takes us far beyond Saturn, to the distant dwarf planet Pluto. Although Pluto is no longer classified as a major planet, its largest moon, Charon, forms one of the most unusual systems ever discovered. Unlike Earth's moon, Charon is enormous compared to Pluto. In fact, the two worlds orbit a point in space located between them, almost behaving like a double planet rather than a planet and moon. Standing on Pluto, Charon would appear enormous in the sky. And because both worlds are tidally locked to each other, they always show the same face. If you stood on one side of Pluto, Charon would never rise, never set. It would simply hang motionless above the horizon forever. The New Horizons spacecraft revealed towering cliffs, mysterious red polar regions, and enormous fractures stretching across Charon's frozen landscape. Scientists believe an ancient underground ocean may have frozen solid billions of years ago. As the water expanded into ice, it cracked the moon's surface apart, leaving behind scars that can still be seen today. Even on the edge of the solar system, the surprises continue. But perhaps the most astonishing realization isn't about any single moon. It's about all of them together. Only a few decades ago, scientists believed moons were little more than frozen leftovers from planetary formation.
Cold, dead,
Inactive.
today.
That idea has completely changed. We now know that moons can have atmospheres, weather, volcanoes, underground oceans, organic chemistry, seasonal cycles, active geology, and possibly the ingredients needed for life. Some researchers now believe there may actually be more potentially habitable moons in our solar system than planets.
Think about that.
The best place to discover alien life may not be a planet at all. It could be hidden beneath kilometers of ice, inside a moon orbiting a giant planet billions of kilometers from the sun. With every new mission, that possibility becomes more exciting. NASA's Europa Clipper mission is preparing to study Europa in unprecedented detail. Future missions hope to return to Enceladus. Others have proposed submarines capable of exploring Titan's methane seas. Some scientists even dream of robotic probes that could melt through Europa's ice and enter its hidden ocean for the very first time. If that day ever comes, humanity may witness one of the greatest discoveries in history.
Not another mountain.
Not another crater, but life, living beneath the frozen surface of an alien world. And if life can exist there, then perhaps the universe is far more alive than we ever imagined. Because every moon we've explored has taught us the same lesson. The solar system is not a collection of silent, lifeless rocks. It's a place filled with active worlds, each with its own story, its own mysteries, and, perhaps, its own forms of life. But, unbelievably, the greatest mystery of all still lies ahead.